Imagine lying in a completely quiet house at 2 in the morning. You're trying to sleep, but the silence is broken by a high-pitched ringing. You press your head into the pillow, trying to ignore it, but the sound persists. It feels like your ears are malfunctioning, picking up a frequency that shouldn't be there. Because the room is so still, that internal noise feels amplified. It becomes the only thing you can focus on, filling the empty space of the bedroom. But the source of this frustration isn't actually originating from your ears. This sound is being generated entirely inside your brain. If you've ever experienced this midnight static, subscribe and join us, because the reason your brain does this is a perfect example of biological engineering. This universally annoying experience suggests that our auditory system follows a logic that can be totally independent of the actual sounds in the room. To understand why, we have to look at how human hearing actually functions. Your auditory system is always on, and it evolved to expect a constant stream of background noise from the environment. When you enter a space that is truly, totally silent, the sudden lack of sensory input confuses the brain. It is suddenly starved of the data it expects to receive. To find the missing signal, the brain reaches for an internal master volume dial. It cranks the gain up, searching for information. This massive increase in sensitivity amplifies internal physiological sounds, like your pulse or your jaw, which are normally hidden by ambient noise. We see this in anechoic chambers. These rooms use dense, pointed fiberglass wedges to absorb 99.99% of acoustic waves, creating the quietest environments on Earth. Subjects standing in this chamber don't hear nothing. Within minutes, they report hearing their own blood pumping through their veins or their stomach gurgling. For a human, absolute silence is impossible. The brain will actively amplify its own biology rather than endure a total sensory vacuum. This volume boost is usually temporary, but it can become permanent through physical damage. When we listen to music that is too loud, we destroy the delicate hair cells in the cochlea that translate sound into electrical signals. When the brain stops receiving signals from damaged areas, it reacts like in a quiet room. It leaves the internal volume dial permanently maxed out. This sensitivity is the root of chronic tinnitus, processing background neural firing as a loud, unchanging ringing sound. A strange reality emerges. A damaged auditory system doesn't just fail to hear the world. It interprets its own internal activity as a real event. Instead of simply suffering from a lack of sound, the brain becomes an active generator of the noise it can no longer find outside. To understand why the brain is so comfortable inventing sound, look at how we handle a normal conversation in a noisy coffee shop. In a crowded room, pieces of a sentence are often lost. A sudden cough or the clatter of a plate can completely mask a specific syllable as your friend is speaking. In what researchers call the phonemic restoration effect, the brain doesn't leave a gap in the sentence. Instead, it uses context and grammar to instantly guess the missing sound. This chart shows the process. When a sound is blocked, the brain plays back a reconstructed version of that sound for the listener, making the utterance feel completely intact. This process is so fast and efficient that the listener never hears the interruption. They perceive a continuous sentence, unaware that their brain has manually filled in the missing data. The auditory system hates an empty space. It demands continuous information, and when that information is missing, the brain will step in to create it. True silence is never empty. It's where the brain works harder. Tell us in the comments, have you ever heard something that wasn't actually there?